Okay, yay, we made it here. Very excited about today's Q&A because it's completely focused on sleep. And if you have been to any of our other workshops or really been involved in your own wellness journey, you have an understanding of the importance of sleep in everything from emotional health and wellness, academic health and wellness, immunity health and wellness. Like, it really plays a role in every single thing that we're kind of focused on right now in our lives, work, stress, it all, right? So we have 3 really great questions that we are going to tackle today. I want to first introduce to you guys who we have. We have our lovely partner, Miss Joan Sberro from BosqueOm Essentials.
Hello, everybody. Happy Wednesday lunchtime Q&A. I'm loving this new format. Love it.
Me too. I do too. I find it to be, I feel like I'm more alert and awake and ready for this. And I just enjoy getting to hang out with you guys on the midweek sort of, I feel like we have a little lunch date.
Yes. And it's easier for me to get away from work to do it too. So that's perfect.
Yes. Great. Our wonderful partner, Miss Susan Velazquez from EpiphanyEssential Oils, or EpiphanyEO.
I was going to say good morning, but it's actually good afternoon. So.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Essentials. Excuse me. I realized after I said it out loud that I had flubbed that. But you can reach any of us in our email addresses that you see on our little boxes that we're in. Also, feel free to visit RavensNestEssentials.com, where you can get links and information to most of our workshops that we have, offering information and solutions for you and your family, right? So our first question today could go on for an entire hour, right? But we're not going to do that. We're talking specifically about sleep, as so many of the solutions that we can get out there, either prescription or over the counter, do tend to have some types of side effects, one of which is a concern about them being habit forming. So with our essential oils, the question is are they habit forming? Go ahead, anyone who wants to jump in. I certainly have my thoughts on this, as usual.
Well, I have to say, are they habit forming? Well, if there are good habits and there are bad habits. So yes, you can develop a habit for your oils, but that's a healthy habit. It's a good habit. As to the question, are they physically addictive? No,
yes.
Right? And that's the clincher right there. They don't create a craving or a need for more, or the things that we usually associate with anything, really. I was going to say medication, but really anything that is of an addictive nature. So that's one of the great aspects of using essential oils for sleep, right? Is that we don't have to worry about that aspect.
Yeah. I think too, there is, I mean, I think Joan, go ahead. I'm going to let you go first, because I think you and I are about to say the same thing.
Yeah, I'm going to echo Susan, of course, to say there are healthy habits, right? Brushing your teeth, washing your face. Those are healthy habits that you need to develop and get good at. So sleep in many ways and good sleep, it involves developing some healthy habits around sleep, but certainly taking our supplements that help with sleep, Serenity, the Serenity soft gels, the adaptive. I use both in the evening, and there's no sort of long-term lingering effect. You don't become, the body, as Susan was talking about, the body doesn't become habituated to them in a physical sense, right?
Yeah.
It's not an addictive thing that way. You do not need, there are many sleep aids on the market, prescription and maybe some non-prescription, where you have to be careful about stopping taking them, things like that. And ours have that wonderful advantage of you take it when you need it. If you're feeling like you don't need it, don't take it. There's no harm in, if you've been taking it for a while, to not take it. Right?
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't carry any of those sorts of concerns.
Yeah, that's exactly what I think is what a lot of people are worried about. I mean, I know that there are a lot of benefits to something like a melatonin supplement, right? That's sort of the common recommendation right now that's out there. And this can be helpful in a very short term. Think jet lag, think, something going on in your life. You really want to focus short term there. And there are certainly different health issues. You should really be speaking with your doctor about what you're using and why you're using it, especially with contraindication concerns, right? But ours, I really like, first off, there is no one thing. When we say ours, we don't have like a sleep aid, right? We all have something different that helps us with our sleep and our resting. And whether that be because we have anxiety issues, we have digestive health issues, we have our brain needing to just turn off issues. There's so many reasons why people don't sleep, and there is no one answer for all of those things. So what I like is that with our oils and our supplements, we can find a tool that really works specifically for us. But like you're saying, Joan, the day you don't have it, or you go to your grandma's or whatever, and you don't have it with you and you decide to stay over, I don't know why I pick grandma's, but whatever. But you're not going to end up in a situation where you're up all night because you don't have that tool. There's no, coming down from it or, issues involved in that way. So, and as far as habituation, it's so true because you're not going to have, and believe me, I'm so familiar with this, but you're not going to have a situation where you have to keep upping what you're taking because your body becomes sort of like, well, this is the main level and now I need more and now I need more. You're not going to have that with your essential oils. So really, really important to understand. I've been using the same, the only parts of my sleep ritual, if you will, that have changed has been because of new products coming out. Otherwise, I have not had to up my dosage, if you will, or my practice or change my practice in 4 years. And I still get the same results that I did before. Now, that being said, do circumstances change in my life? Or maybe I'm in a period where my anxiety is higher, or maybe I'm in a period where whatever, my kids are being crazy, whatever it might be. Yeah. In which case I can make adjustments, but at no point has it been like, look, I normally take 2 Serenities. Now I have to take 6 because I've been using it for 4 years. That does not exist. Right. We've got Trixie here saying, I love my Serenity soft gels and can take them or leave them when I need them. They work well for both of us. No groggy or scattered, mindset, and she feels rested. And that is exactly it, Trixie. I am with you 100% on that. My husband loves Serenity every day. I rarely take it. I take it only when I sort of look at it and think, I think I'll try that tonight. Or if I'm in a situation where I'm traveling, maybe have a jet lag situation, something has happened before bed that has sent me reeling into, whatever zone that I feel like maybe I should take something, I honestly take Serenity more so in the daytime to help kind of bring some serenity into my life. So if that says anything there.
Yeah,
anyway.
I would say Serenity has migrated as well. It's in my nighttime set.
Yeah.
Supplements that I take, but it's migrated a bit into the daytime too. I will take it if I'm feeling a little extra wound up. I've been dealing with a lot of stuff lately, and I'm like, yep, getting ready for a meeting that I don't want to go into, and I'm like, let's just have a Serenity and adaptive and take a little Frank and Copaiba, and it's all good. Yeah, it migrates around, and it's absolutely true. You can take it. One thing I did want to say, it's not necessarily about the supplements, but I know that this had come up one time in a comment, I think from our colleague Leslie at some point, of a set of oils that she used in her overnight diffuser had been very helpful for a long time. And then she found it was not being as helpful. And we looked at it, and it really was more a matter, not as some sleep aids where you're going to have to increase to get the same level of support. It was that her body had naturally gotten to a point where she's resting more easily. And so changing up that sort of thing made perfect sense because it was a different level of support than that she was looking for. So that can happen as well.
That's a great point. You're so right, because it was that she had started, working out. She had totally changed her diet. her household lifestyle, based on what we've all been through in the last year, had totally turned upside down. And so her needs had changed. It wasn't that she had become immune to, or, it wasn't working anymore. It was that her needs were different. So she had to reevaluate. So that's a great reason too, to work with someone, because it's so easy when it's just, believe me, because I do it myself. Where I will be like, what, you know what I mean? You don't think about your own, you don't see the big picture for yourself. Right. So when you work with someone who can say, well, look, you've totally changed your whole lifestyle, everything from your diet to your exercise to your lifestyle. So your needs are going to change. And it was like, oh my gosh, like as soon as, the light went off, she made a little adjustment and now she was off and running again. So work with your person. I think that's a really important point. Okay, on to the next one. And this is about, this is sort of the end goal. And there are so many reasons why it's hard to get here. But this is a question based on basically what can I do to wake up feeling rested and refreshed and, ready for the day, not sore, not still groggy and tired. This is kind of this is the goal, right? So many reasons why this can be a challenge for people. Susan, I know that this is something Susan is not the morning person. Okay. Although I have gone on vacations with you and done things with you, and you rally quite well, but you do have an understanding, because not everyone in your family is necessarily the morning birds, right?
No, we're pretty much all not. We've got one normal person, and the rest of us are all night owls.
Who's the normal one?
Henry.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
He lives a normal, 9 to 5 work day, or 8 to 5, kind of work day. The rest of us could stay up party all night and sleep all day. We're sort of the perennial teenagers. I'm identifying a little too much with my teenagers.
I love it.
But absolutely, this has been a struggle for me for most of my life, because it's not my natural. It's not the way I enjoy being up at night. It's not because I have to work overnight or because of, those kinds of things. I like that period from 11 to 2 in the morning is kind of like my fun time. So, giving that up is hard. And so for me personally, it's kind of a behavioral thing, right? I can do it when I have to, but it doesn't make me happy. I like to stay up late. But the wake up piece is really hard. And I think for, if you're on any kind of a schedule, or you have commitments, work, school, whatever, kids who don't want to sleep all day, that wake up piece is really important, and it sets the tone for your whole day. So if it's painful, it's really hard, right? It really makes your whole day hard if the getting up part is difficult.
Yeah. I think that this is one of those questions too, again, where a wellness advocate or a partner who you're working with, whomever this is, your doctor, whoever it is, there's so many reasons that are possible for why you're not getting good rest, good sleep, and waking up feeling, rejuvenated by your sleep. Right. A lot of it can come down to the habits that you're doing in the daytime. What you're choosing to do and eat, your exercise habits, your, that bedtime routine that we all know so well with, turn off the lights, no screen time, set a good schedule for waking up in the morning, which has been found to be actually more helpful than setting a bedtime, right? And for a lot of people, some people are different, but, I really feel like there's just so many reasons that people aren't getting good sleep. And so it's really specific.
Right. I would agree with that. It's really it's a hard question to answer without having more detail around what exactly is the situation in the morning, right? Is it waking up with pain, right? Because that's the whole other thing, right? And that can be addressed in a different way. Or is it that you're waking up multiple times throughout the night? And that's then also a whole other issue. And I agree with you, Kari, you have to look at that whole, they call it sleep hygiene, around how you set yourself up for your night of sleep. and what you're doing during the day, and what you're eating is a huge part of it, right? Because our digestion and our organs are working overnight when the body is resting, and that's when some of them really kick into high gear and do what they need to do. So if they're struggling in any way, then that can be a trigger for not a restful night of sleep. Or is it like restless leg syndrome? Or, there's just so much to look at to be able to address it appropriately. Take some digging in to see what is it feeling like, and what do we think is happening.
Yeah. So that's an important correlation, right? To make between going to bed, and that process has an effect on how we wake up, right? And the quality of our sleep. And for me, I know what works for me that I don't always do, but I know what works, right?
Well, and that's the thing, yeah.
A lot of it starts with all the foundational things that we talk about all the time, right? So as you said, Joan, diet is a big thing, right? And eating in a healthy way, lots of plant foods, good proteins, healthy fats, all those things that we always talk about. But also hydration. For me, as a headachy person, hydration is really huge. And it's hard because I don't like water. I'm not a good water drinker. So I tend to drink things that make your hydration status worse, like tea all day that has caffeine in it, that is a diuretic. So you lose water instead of, gain. So, between food and hydration, those are two things that I know I have control over. And the wake up time for me has been huge. And this has been going back probably a long time now. Probably I'm thinking of my youngest child, and probably, he's 12, so not 12 years, but somewhere, between 10 and, some odd years, that I started setting a wake up time for myself, which may sound crazy to most people, but for the past 20 years, I've been a stay-at-home mom for most of those 20 years, and homeschooling. So our schedule could start at 10 or 11 or 1 or 2 in the afternoon, depending on, my preferences and my kids and all that kind of stuff. But setting a wake-up time and getting up every morning at the same time really trained me to wake up at that time. And that's kind of broken this summer because we've all been behaving like adolescents in my house this
summer fever, right? Yeah,
exactly. Well, and it stays lighter later, so all those cues for the sun's going down even though it's only 4:50 and I gotta start make dinner and get everybody sort of settled down, kind of process, all that's pushed back a few hours. So yeah, it kind of messes me up, but those things have been really helpful for me. And I think for people who want to try like a Serenity type of a supplement, one of the things that I've read is that even if you are sleeping less, so take the situation of a new mom who has no choice but to get up when baby gets up, that during the time that you're sleeping, you're getting more of that good REM sleep because of the way Serenity is supporting your sleep cycle. So even if you have to shorten, you're not getting that desired 8 hours of sleep, you're getting better quality sleep when you're sleeping. So that's something I have been really remiss with. I don't use Serenity because I feel like, well, I can fall asleep. I just choose not to go to bed. But I'm thinking if I try that might be a good key for better sleep, because when I go to bed, I sleep hard. And so I wake up very, it is kind of painful. Whether or not there's a headache involved, it can be, kind of painful. So I'm thinking I'm going to try that, see how it works out.
It's interesting. I totally agree. And I think it is important to set that time to get up and to stick to it as much as possible, including on the weekends, right? For those of us who work those, 8 to 5 jobs during the week, and that desire, that tendency that's a holdover from teenage years probably, to on the weekend mornings, well, I don't have to get up, so I'm going to sleep in. And that just throws everything way off. And it's true, right? There's those external cues around timing because of the light. And I found for me, and I joke about it, but it's really true, right? Like last night when I'm an early riser, as people know, and so when I'm going to bed, it's still really light outside. right? And when I'm getting into bed, I might read for a little bit. It'll be a little bit darker by the time I finally turn the lights out. But generally, certainly throughout the real height of the summer, it's still light out when I've turned my lights out to go to sleep. And so that takes some getting used to, right? It does.
Yeah.
It takes getting used to. It takes your body getting used to that, and some really good heavy drapes to help with that.
Well, and people, because I'm that way too. My sleep is very much dictated by the sun. However, that means in the winter when the sun goes down at 4:30, I'm like, well, now, we should be getting ready for bed over here, and everybody's like, no, what the heck are you doing? You'll be happy to know, Joan, I saw a thing yesterday. It said that yesterday was the last day that the sun did you see that before 8 o'clock? The sun will set before or after 8 o'clock
8 p.m.
until May of next year. I was like, oh, yay. That is my bed. My happy place, right? Trixie is saying and sharing with us that her sleep has drastically improved with adding LLV and a sleep hygiene routine, that she sticks to the bedtime, wind down, diffusing, and etc. And that's a key thing. Having and working out with someone who has an understanding of like, look, if your digestive system is the problem, let's bring in Roman chamomile. If it's anxiety or your mind, let's bring in vetiver. Like, we have an understanding of that. So work with your person to develop the beginnings of a sleep hygiene routine. I just want to say too that, it's different for everyone, as we've said, but for me, the hydration, I know, and believe me, sometimes before I go to bed, I'm like, gosh, I just want a big glass. My husband has a water bottle next to the bed that by the time he wakes up in the morning is empty. If I drink anything, I'm like a little girl still, where it's like, no, it's 7:30, Kari. You can't have anything to drink because you'll be up all night going to the bathroom. If I drink after 7:30, I will get up between 3 and 5 times a night to use the restroom, and talk about interrupted sleep. It's terrible. So for me, I kind of have to go a weird way and stop drinking anything, at an earlier hour, like I'm 10, but nonetheless, it's what works for me. And the LLV, I'm with you, Trixie. I mean, to tell you, I've had sleep issues my whole adult life. But it turns out mine were really hormone based, where I was having that 3 o'clock wake up, mini anxiety attack, can't go back to sleep till 5:30 or so. And then I'm exhausted because I do that weird overly sleep thing that happens between 5:30 and 7:30. You know what I'm talking about? And it was terrible. So I really think that I'm sharing that because it's an example of how we're all really different. And so what worked for me and Trixie is so different than what works for other people. So work with us. If you want a starting point and you don't have a person, I'm going to tell you, get Serenity oil and the vetiver and a diffuser. Just start there. With those tools, because Serenity is a blend that has all the oils in it that help with a lot of the different reasons why people struggle with sleep, you're going to at least start to see some relief. And it's safe for everyone in your household. But other than that, it is super duper specific. Trixie is so smart. Yes. Keeping a sleep, journal. Have you guys tried? I know, Joan, you have tried the new sleep wellness kits. Right?
Love them to pieces. Love that kit. It's probably my favorite out of all of them. Quite honestly, I think it's my favorite out of the ones I've tried and sampled, the ones I've gone all the way through with. I love that sleep kit.
Yeah, it's 3 months, different stuff every month. Some things repeat because it's a month's worth of it, whatever it might be. The Serenity is the one that I'm thinking of offhand. But you get them on your loyalty rewards program. It's a huge savings, and it's curated to sort of cover all of the different issues of sleep. So you don't have to think about it so much. I think they're amazing. You just can't get a better deal, honestly. If nothing else, the deal is just incredible, right? Susan, were you going to say something or to add to this? Or
I was actually. And now I can't remember what it was.
Oh, okay.
But I was going to ask you all. I was going to ask all of you to share like what your favorite wake up oils are for those of us who are not morning people. So like I have right now in my diffuser, I have my Motivate going because it's been a long time since we've done anything at noon. I haven't been here for all of the noon lunch chat. So my brain had to be doing more than just, flipping pancakes for my children's late breakfast. So I got my motivate on today.
Yeah, for me, I like to wake up and have a glass of water with some lemon oil. I find to be really good. Remember, I'm thirsty because I didn't get to have anything before bed. And so there's that, right? And I take my supplements right away. As far as oils go, balance before my feet hit the ground. But I don't do like a peppermint wild orange. But here's the difference though. I am like Sleeping Beauty, or what is it? Snow White in the morning, like yawn, little birds. Like the morning is my jam. Like this is my hour to shine. It doesn't get better it's the best moment of my day. Is first thing in the morning. I wake up feeling good and positive and the whole outlook of life. And then it just goes, through the day, the reality sets in and it goes downhill. So I might not be the best person, but you've seen me at 8:30 at night. So the flip side of that when I'm like, I'm going to go to bed. Joan, you're up early.
I find that if I get up and I drink my water and then I go brush my teeth, I love how the On Guard toothpaste wakes me up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It is. It's like that clove and cinnamon. Refreshing, right?
Yeah, for me, it's very much first thing as soon as I get up while the dog is having her breakfast, I'm having a glass of warmish water with 3 or 4 drops of lemon oil. And that wakes up internally, right? My internal functions, organs, things like that. That's a great way to go. And then in terms of oils, my early morning oils are generally, it's generally adaptive with a grounding tree in it, either cedar wood. I had cypress in it this morning, but I'll get that going early. The thing that's kind of changing up a little bit for me right now, and the issue for me is that my morning routine revolves around when the sun comes up. I'm up much earlier than that, but I walk my dog in the hour before sunrise. So that changes throughout the year. And then it will mean that I have to do some flip-flopping of the rest of my schedule. And right now, what's happening is it's up early. I may not even set up the diffuser. I'll have my glass of lemon water, peace and balance in my hand, some deep breathing, sit down to meditate. And then currently, because of what time the sun is coming up and so what time we row or what time we walk, I'm getting on my rowing machine right now at about 5 in the morning, between like 4:45 and 5. So that's a different diffuse. So then my pilot is going right next to the rowing machine. Recently, because of all the wildfire smoke we've had, it's had Airex and Breathe and something bright like lime or wild orange or spearmint, something like that. So that right now, that will change again, as the year goes by. Yeah. But that's what's happening right now. And so for me, that I love that Breathe and lime combination is bright and gets things going in the morning for me. That's a really good combo if you want something peppy in the morning. Before my meditation, I like the quiet and calm, and that sort of helps to set the mood for the day for me.
Yeah, I did forget to mention when Joan was talking, it struck me. There is something I do oil related first thing in the morning, and that is copaiba and frankincense under my tongue. And I know Trixie, if she's still on, will agree. And I love how she puts it. It's like putting her feet on for the day. And it is so true. It really kind of gets that sort of like, okay, everything's aligned and I'm ready to go mentality happening. So, and I mean, look, I like a cup of coffee too. So let's not forget that.
It's interesting because I'm switching a little bit to doing the copaiba and frankincense under the tongue early. Normally, I had been doing it sort of after my morning meal and supplements. I'm not one of those that can do the supplements on an empty stomach. So they wait until I eat. And with the way I structure my eating through the day, my first meal is usually around 10 o'clock, 10:30 in the morning. And that's when I'm taking my main morning supplements. And that's when I've been doing the frankincense and copaiba. But I have to say, I'm starting to switch it up to do that much earlier in the morning, long before food and the rest of my supplements.
Yeah. And has it been long enough that you like that? Is it, something that you're liking?
I do. It's actually only been like a few days, less than a week, really.
Okay. Yeah.
So I'll report back on that as it goes on.
Trixie's calling them her boys. So, she and I argue over whose they are, but I'll give it to you this time. Yeah. I mean, they make a big, I don't know. It just makes a big difference for me. And I really do feel it. I feel my thoughts are sort of out of that. I don't even want to say foggy because I don't feel like I really wake up foggy, but I come into focus ready to sort of get stuff done earlier, as opposed to need to do this morning, 2-hour long thing that happens. I'm ready to kind of go. So, if give that a try. And know too, guys, if you're having like real issues with waking up in the morning, seek help with that beyond, I have my dear friend for my whole life. She could not get up in the morning, and it was a real problem. Our whole like childhoods and teenage years, it was like, dude, she won't get up. Well, it turned out she was really anemic. And she really needed help with, an intervention. And it took years to realize that. It always just we all just thought she was stubborn and overly sleepy. No, she really couldn't get up. And so, look into things. If it's, there's a point at which it reaches where you kind of go, this isn't normal. And actually, we're going to segue now, I think, a little bit into something along the lines of like a sleep study. We have a lot of people. I know I have people in my family who are about to have a sleep study, not my household, but my family. And the question was regarding what is it that we can do? How can we best prepare for a sleep study and good, having that be a successful period of time, right, that you're spending. So does anyone want to talk about just why would somebody need a sleep study real quick? Yeah, go ahead, Joan.
I can do that because, yes, I'm getting referred for one. And I don't know when it will happen yet, but I'm going to have a sleep test done. And it's due to exhaustion. And I have great sleep hygiene. I think I sleep really well, right? But we've gone through my doctor and I have gone through a list of ruling other things out. And she's like, all right, well, next step is a sleep test to see if there's sleep apnea. Right? Because and her questions, do you snore? I'm like, I have no idea. My dog doesn't tell me. I don't know. How would I know? Right. So people have mentioned it in the past, but never like super heavy or anything.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, it's the next thing we need to try. Right. We've done a lot of blood work. We've ruled out other things. So this is the next step in the progression. And it's more to do with the fact of just dealing with some really extreme exhaustion.
Yeah. So you're just not resting well through the night.
Apparently not. Right.
Yeah.
I don't, it feels like I sleep well and I have great sleep hygiene. And look, I teach about sleep hygiene and talk to other people about sleep hygiene. And I have good, and I in bed good amount of time. I think I sleep really well. I'm a little bit tired I'm not always tired when I wake up. And so, sometimes I am, but not always. It's more during the day.
Yeah, that midday.
Yeah.
You're just not getting through the day.
Yeah.
Well, there's so many reasons why people need to get a sleep study done. In looking into it, some of the obvious things, of course, the center is going to tell you things like, don't drink caffeine or alcohol or chocolate or anything like that in those hours leading up to it. If you have any medications and this is where we come in, things that you're doing habit wise, as far as like your routine wise, I should say, not habit. So your essential oils would fall into this category. So definitely have a list of what you're doing and when you're doing it that you can share with them for the sleep study. Also things like, only use shampoo, don't use conditioner, don't use any products in your hair because of the little sensors that they need to do. But you're going to get that packet from them, right, when you go in. the other information, I know, Susan, you had found some great information too. The only other thing I found out and what struck me was about like, don't start a new routine in the days and weeks, maybe even leading up, and don't stop a routine in the days and weeks leading up, because you're going to kind of throw it off, right? You don't want to show up, you got to show up kind of in your normal state so that they can really figure out what's up. Susan, what were you able to find, and what you have to share?
That's exactly it. So it's not a test like you have to pass, right? So like, don't think I gotta sleep because I won't pass the test if I don't sleep. They want to see what your normal baseline is, and your baseline may not be where you want it to be, but they want to see where you're operating so that they can evaluate what do you possibly need to make things better, right? So, avoiding alcohol and caffeine is a good thing because that can affect your sleep cycles. Now, if I think probably most of us don't drink coffee before bed. So, that go by what your patient recommend, or your, there's a name for that. Your prep instructions say, for sure, in terms of like how long before do you need to cut off caffeine and those kinds of things. But it's not the time to like decide, I'm going to try the Serenity soft gels tonight when you go for your sleep study, because you want to see, I hope that they do improve your sleep, right? But you want to see where you have been so that they can help you to isolate what the issue is and then find the solutions to go forward. Now, if that's what you've been doing for a really long time, I don't know, months or more, then that's part of your normal sleep routine. That's a different subject. But for sure, talk it over with your provider so that you are set up well, and so that experience is good from a diagnostic standpoint, because that's what's going to help you move forward and either rule out problems or identify, what it is.
Yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I think for me, one of the things in getting ready, right, and of course it hasn't been scheduled yet because how referrals work, but when it is, to me, it's always sort of like, how on earth are you going to get any sleep? Right? In whatever room they have you in, hooked up to a bajillion machines. It's hard enough, right? When you like are traveling and you're trying to sleep in a hotel that's not your own house. So that's, to me, is sort of fascinating to see how that all plays out.
You got to think they must have some sort of a,
they make it like a nice room. Does it make it like a hotel room or something? I don't even know.
I can't say that I've seen one.
Right?
Oh my
I sleep
gosh,
with my cat and my dog. I don't know.
I haven't seen one here in New Mexico, and it's probably been a good 20-ish years since I have. But when I worked in Connecticut, I worked on a pediatric unit that was near the sleep study center at the time, where it was in the hospital then. And so we didn't do anything with the patients overnight because they had a sleep study tech who would watch them. But it was actually a lovely environment on the end of this very normal, typical, busy at night, pediatric unit. And the lights were it was kind of nice because you'd go in and the lights would be all subdued and soft. And, so they do try. It's not like you're going into a hospital room with full bright lights and, treatment table and all that. It's subdued and it's conducive to sleep. But yes, you do have the things, stuck to you all over. But it's really interesting. It's a fascinating thing.
Yeah. I think that's almost, it's just unavoidable to have all of that, the fact that it's going to be uncomfortable. They do say too, bring your pillow, bring your own pillow. Cause boy, isn't that always the thing when you go somewhere else, is the pillow's not right. But, a note I would throw out there too, is once you get your results about what the issues are, start working with your wellness advocate to see what things you can bring in, not because you don't want to do whatever is being advised, but because maybe you can reduce the amount needed of whatever is being advised, right? And see what you can do. So maybe if it turns out that you are having a respiratory issue, perhaps, then, bringing breathe in might be a really good idea, and see where that gets you, and then work with your doctor, of course, to deal with whatever advice they have for you. So, moving the needle as far as we can is the goal, not replacing it altogether. So, work with someone and communicate that. That's the benefit, I think, of having people again on your sleep is weird. We think it's one word, but man, it has so much involved, and there's so many ways that we can all be impacted by it. So, does anyone have anything else to add on any of the topics for today? We're good. Yay. So I actually, ironically and beautifully, I had to laugh when you said that you're the one, you do always teach us about sleep and rest. The same way I'm always talking about anxiety and digestion. Hello, it's the things that we're passionate about because it impacts, ourselves or someone we love. So, but tomorrow we are releasing a wonderful workshop. I want to say it was the power of rest. I can't, the topic off the top. Yeah, the power of rest, and a whole day, not just about sleep, right?
Right.
And so check that out for sure. And just check out there's so many solutions that we have available. Go to RavensNestEssentials.com to find a lot of those. They're there for you. They're free and they're available for you to check out and enjoy. And hopefully they will help you. Sleep impacts quite literally every aspect of our life. And I think if we all slept a little better, we'd all be a little bit happier. The whole world would be a better place, right? How funny. So thank you guys so much. Have a good rest of your Wednesday. Thank you, Tammy, Susan, Joan. Tammy came in a little late, guys. Sorry to catch her, but Tammy Lane from Pure Plant Oils. Hi. Bye. Glad to have you. And we will see you guys next week. If you have questions, send them our way. We are more than happy to help. So check you later.